What if I told you that by practicing less, you would be able to accomplish more? Yes, I'm talking specifically about the piano, but this could really be true about anything you're doing in life. How can you get more from less? Well, this is not just one of those videos where people throw out a big crazy idea and then there's nothing actionable and just to make you feel good and be edutainment. No, I have 3 tips and a little bit bonus at the end that will take what you're doing right now and make it more efficient, better off, easier to stick to, all of those wonderful things. So we're going to just debunk that you just need to be trying harder and replace it with actionable steps to get better at your instrument. So let's just go to these tips. The first one is you need to be practicing daily. I know how cathartic it is to just go, okay, I gotta get good. And then you practice everything you're planning to do in that one time period. You practice for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. But then what happens? Inevitably, the next day you wake up and you go, oh, I don't have time for that today. Wow, that was a lot. And then the next day comes and you go, oh, I don't have very much time to sit down at the piano. And then before you know it, it's the beginning of the next week and you're just starting this cycle over again. So my first tip is to practice daily. Every single day. If you say that you are a pianist, you need to be playing the piano every single day. Now, this does not need to be hours and hours on end. I would say, let's imagine that you're a beginner and you're just shooting for, I don't know, a couple hours over the course of a week. And so right now you're spending 30 minutes, 3 days a week. That's about an hour and a half, right? You would be better off, in my opinion, spending 5 to 10 minutes a day instead of spending those 30 minutes in those 3 days. So let's just break down. Let's do some math. 30 minutes for 3 days is 90 minutes. If you did the extreme end of what I'm saying, 10 minutes a day, that's 70 minutes. That's 20 less minutes. And I guarantee I want you to you could stop the video right now. You could go and do this for a week and then come back into the comments and say, this didn't work for me. But I guarantee that if you practice 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes less than those 30 minutes in 3 days, you will be better off. And again, there are of course different ways that this can go wrong. Maybe that's an unfocused 5 to 10 minutes. We're about to get to that. There's all sorts of things that you could mess up, but you're way more on the right track than not if you practice every day instead of inconsistently. That gets us to tip number 2, which is break apart your practice session into 5-minute goal-oriented chunks. What do I mean by that? Well, you need to have something you're practicing towards every bit of this 5-minute period. So let's say you're learning a piece of music. You may go, these 2 measures, I'm going to get really good in 5 minutes. You slow them down. You play it over and over again. Boom, the 5 minutes has passed. You go, did I accomplish my goal? So then you go back, you play those 2 measures, and you go, wow, I accomplished my goal. Now you can choose. Do I walk away? Which would be great. You accomplished something. That's great. Or do I keep on practicing? And then you pick another thing to do for this next 5 minutes. That is how the 5-minute goal works. This is very flexible. It doesn't have to be 2 measures. It doesn't have to be 4 measures. It could be 8 measures. It could be, I want to practice dynamics. It could be, I want to work on ear training. It could be, I'm working on scales. But think about 5-minute periods. If you're a super organized person, you can even set a timer. You can write down the goal. Otherwise, what I like to do is I just like to think of it more generally. What is my short-term goal right now? Okay, practice these 4 measures, get it better. If it turns out to be 7 minutes, who gives a rip? But then I'm going to check myself and make sure that I actually did what I set out to do. That gets me to my third point, which is with these goals, there should be a greater reach that you're doing. You're trying to build towards something. And for most of us, that's probably going to be a spirit goal related to learning a piece of music that we want to play. Again, it might not be. It may be that you want to learn theory better so you can play jazz. It may be scales. There's all sorts of different things. But for most of us, that medium-term goal, I mean a month to 3 months, it's going to be learning a song. To do this, you need to make sure those 5-minute goals are building up to learning that song. That's kind of my main 3 points. If you just committed to those 3 things, you would be making so much more progress in less time. But let me give you a couple other bonuses. I think as well that you should always have something on the back burner. This is kind of like the 4th extra tip, if you will. Always have something on the back burner. What do I mean by that? Well, it could be scales, getting your scales cleaner and faster. Boom. If you do that, you're going to be an infinitely better pianist 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Remember, music is a long game. We think of so much stuff in life as what's that going to earn me in a week, 2 weeks, a month. But if you think about scales and technique and theory and ear training and musicality, these are long-term games that apply to every piece you may play in your entire future. If you can get into that mindset, you are going to make so much more progress. Now, I want to go back and sort of make sure that I'm not overly handed on this efficient, small time frame practicing. There's nothing bad about practicing in really long time periods. When I was in college, I would be playing piano either in a rehearsal or practicing it on my own for around 8 to 12 hours a day, easily. Nothing wrong with that. It was quite essential for me to get to where I need to be. First of all, that's not for everyone. Second of all, that's not sustainable for your entire life. It may be sustainable even for years, but not for your entire life. And then the third thing is you do need to make sure that it's worth it to you. You don't need to just go in and go, well, this is what I have to do, because you can make a super amount of progress, again, just being efficient with your time in those things. Also, you don't always have to have a goal when you're playing. Notice I said playing, though. I think that's a big difference between practicing and playing. If you have a goal and you're really working towards something, that's practice. If you're just messing around, that's playing. And playing is amazing and wonderful and awesome. I highly encourage you to commit to these steps and try them yourself. I think you're going to be surprised at what a big impact it makes. I would love for you to leave a comment below now and go, okay, I'm going to give this a whirl. Use that as an accountability step, and then come back and then comment, reply to yourself and go, I did it and it really made an impact. I'm Robert Monroe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, take it easy and happy practicing.